So today's video is going to be about QuantConnect, and we're going to give a full thorough tutorial on how to backtest strategies in QuantConnect, and also how to apply the QuantConnect platform to make your strategies automated. So to start off with, first I'll discuss what the pros and cons of using QuantConnect is, and then we'll go into the next section. So one of the biggest challenges quantitative traders face around the world, including the students who do our course, or people or retail traders generally, is that there is a lack of a platform or a lack of a good engine to make your trades automated. It's easy to backtest strategies. There are lots of platforms, including TradingView or AmiBroker, that allows you to backtest strategies, but to execute it live, that's a completely different story. And that engine problem is kind of sorted out by QuantConnect. So this is a frustrating problem. I've got lots of students who complain saying that, hey, we've got all these great strategies, but how do we make it executed? Because we don't want to be in front of the screen all the time. And that's one of the biggest drawbacks of algorithmic trading, because every broker has got their own built-in systems, and it's really difficult for anybody to code a personalized system for everybody, for every single broker. So QuantConnect kind of sorts out that problem, and it's heavily used in the professional trading community. It's used in hedge funds. And it's got a really good solid base, and it's been used by different brokers around the world. I personally use it in Interactive Brokers, and if you want to do CFDs, you can do it in Oanda. Trading Technology is a very famous futures brokerage, which is used by professional trading floors around the world. And it's got a really good cloud platform, so you can actually run it in cloud. So if you personally create an algorithmic trading engine, the amount of time it's going to take, it could be months, you're talking about years, and you have to upload it into the AWS software or a cloud software so you can run it automated even though your computer system is not on, and you have to check it thoroughly to see if there is any issues. So QuantConnect kind of solves all these problems out, and it's got like pretty good brokerages as well. So we'll come to the brokerages in a bit. So some of the facilities that allows backtesting, it allows optimization, forward testing, and all those things. And on top of that, it gives you live trading. And one of the biggest advantages that I've seen is normally all brokerages and all platforms, their system to backtest and live trading are completely different. Now with QuantConnect, the system is pretty much the same. So when you backtest it, going live is just a couple of clicks away. So that is a pretty cool thing in QuantConnect, and that's why I thought of doing a video on QuantConnect, so every single student who does our course and every single subscriber who watch a video, if you want to make your strategy automated, you can do it with QuantConnect. So some of the brokers that QuantConnect does is Interactive Brokers, Oanda, Coinbase, Trading Technologies, like I said. So there are some big names in that TD Ameritrade, which spans different countries as well. So every broker doesn't trade every product. So for example, Interactive Brokers only allows you to trade equities, options, and futures. Oanda does help you do CFDs as well. So if you're involved in doing CFDs and stuff like that, then Oanda might be the way to go if you're going via QuantConnect. And then there's obviously the other crypto based brokers as well. But this is a huge list. I don't think any company has got this much huge list of brokerages that facilitate this algorithmic trading engine. So it is free to use, just to give it a go. But once you start going to live, then you need to have a paid plan. So if you can go to the pricing, get a general idea. I mean, this is a pricing that you get if you are doing, so this is a pricing that I've already paid. I've already paid for a backtesting plan and a live trading plan. So if I can go to my account and so I've got one backtesting node, one research node, and one live trading node. This is the most simple plan that you have, and you'll get an idea of how much. You'll get an idea. Just going free would be the ideal thing to do. See how it goes, see how it works out, and then if you're happy with it, then you can get a live trading node and then make your strategies automated. So first things first. So once you sign up to an account or a free account, what I want you to do is go to the lab. So this video is completely about QuantConnect tutorial, and we'll discuss thoroughly how to create strategies in QuantConnect. So first thing I want you to do is just click on lab, and then you can click on create new algorithm, and we'll just do the use default template. So it takes a little bit of time to load, and that's one of the slight drawbacks of QuantConnect, but it's okay, it's good. As compared to if you do it in Python in your own system, then it's much easier. So The first thing that pops up is this one. So if you guys don't know anything about Python, I would heavily suggest you visit our channel and go and watch this video, Algorithmic Trading 0 to Hero in Python. It goes through everything from proper basic, from installation all the way to handling data, backtesting strategies, creating classes, creating functions, APIs, and everything. So if you don't know anything about coding or anything about quantitative trading, this video is the way to start your journey. And once you're thorough with it, and I don't discuss things like how to build an app or something. This is purely for Python from a trading standpoint. So once you're thorough with this, which is a 3-hour video, it's been watched by a lot of people, it's got lots of good reviews. And the good thing about this video, which I got lots of replies from lots of the students, is that it involves lots of challenges. So this is the same model that I'm going to apply for our QuantConnect video tutorial as well. I'm going to do lots of challenges, and that challenges is quite essential, because the more challenges you do, the more you're going to get better in coding, rather than just watching it. It's like you can watch a basketball game and you're not going to learn anything. You have to do it. You need to have some challenges. You need to try out different things. So this is the first thing that pops up when you create a new algorithm. So I'm not going to go deep into many of these things because it's been discussed in the video in the Python on what a class is or what a function is. So let's start. Let's remove some unnecessary things. Let's start with simple ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it on SPY for now before we add another things to it. So basically, initialize and on data are built-in functions of the QuantConnect platform, and they have their own jobs to do. So initialize initially sets up what are the things that we need. So that could be the start date, that could be the end date, that could be the cache, that could be the symbols that we work out with. On data is a function that goes through every single time a data comes in. So it could be every single bar, like a minute bar or a daily bar or things like that. So let's do the first thing. Let's also create an end date. So self.set end date. So during this video, we're going to see lots of errors as well, which is good, because then you also might have the same errors, so you know how to sort out these errors. So what's going to happen right now is that these things will be initiated: the start date, the end date, the cache, and the SPY. And the on data checks if there is an investment done. If there is no investment done, then we're going to set holdings of SPY to 33%. So 33% of the cash of allocated will be invested in the SPY. So you're just going to click on run, and a thing pops up. This is just random name. Don't worry about it. Every single time you backtest, you'll get a random name. And it's pretty good that you actually create it, because you can go back to your backtest strategy and then you can understand what changes was made. So as you can see here, $100,000, 33% was invested. There's a fee, so you got the net return and all those things. And you have got different, obviously there's only one trade place because we set the holdings. Got the compound annual return, the net profit, and all the other details from that information. So let's start to make some changes. Let's start to make some additional things into this so that you can learn better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the years. So let's make it 2020. And this is the resolution.minute. I can change that to resolution.daily, to hourly, but that's maximum it. So if you want to do weekly and monthly, there's another setup. There's something called trade bar consolidator, which basically consolidates the bar, so you can create custom data, custom time frame data, and make entries and exit based on that. So that will come and discuss on a later stage of this video. So as of now, we've got the start date, end date, equity, and set holdings. So instead of set holdings, let's do a market order so we can decide on the quantity of the stocks. So before that, what I want to do is that since we'll be adding multiple data, what I want to do is I want to store this into separate names. So for example, let's say you want to add SPY and TLT and create a complicated model. So then you can use the names for this. So self.ticker. So I'm going to store the SPY data to self.ticker. And I'm going to change this to self.ticker.symbol. So all this data is saved onto self.ticker, but we specifically want to set holdings of the symbol, right, for the SPY. So we need to mention self.ticker.symbol. And what I'm going to do, another thing, is I'm going to set a market order, so which is basically just like any other set market order, and I'm going to give a contract of 1. So basically what this does is that it creates a market order, so it checks basically if the market is invested or not, and if it's not invested, we're going to set a market order on SPY with just 1 contract. So let's see if we can run this code, and let's see if we get any errors or whatever. It's good to face errors so we can understand where we made oh yeah, so the situation was, instead of set, it's just market order. I kind of made a mistake there. So just run it again. So there you go. So you have basically done a market order. So if I can go scroll down and just look at the order, you can see buy market on open, and we have filled the market price as well. So got a pretty decent return, but that's because we've been holding it for a while. So it's a very simple thing. So hopefully you've learned what a market order does. What I'm going to do now is I will do the average price. So what we'll do is we'll create a debug order to understand how much is our average price that we got filled, so that get displayed on a log. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do self.debug. So that is a thing that we use to display something on our log. And I'm going to write down something, and I'm going to say the number of shares, and we want to display that, right? So I'm going to do like a plus sign here, and then we need to do the string. And then I'm going to write in the self.portfolio, and then self.ticker.symbol.quantity. That's all we want. So self.ticker, so self.ticker.symbol, because we did it in the SPY, symbol, and dot quantity. So this will be in a square bracket right there, and then dot quantity, and that should display the amount of quantity that we got in. And then on top of that, I will also share the details on the average price at price, again, plus str string self dot ticker dot symbol self dot, we'll just copy paste this entire thing. It is in a bracket, and the only thing we need to do is to replace the quantity to average price. So yeah, so basically this one was the unnecessary stuff there. We need to get rid of that, and I believe that tends to sort out the issue. And the bigger bracket is here. I think it should work perfectly well now. Okay, there we go. So let's go into the log section of the settings there. So initially there was no shares, it was empty, and then number of shares is 1 at price of 303.18. So that's the price where we ended. So that's basically what the debug thing does. Debug kind of stores all this information into the log file. So sometimes you want to check the price, sometimes you want to see if the condition was correct or not, and that debug kind of helps you understand if you're making any mistakes or not. It's a really essential tool when you're coding in QuantConnect or any of the platforms that you see. So now this is the first challenge that you have. So this is the first challenge. What you're going to do is you're going to download 3 stocks. So you're going to do SPY, you're going to do QQQ, and you're going to do TLT. You're going to back test from 2010 to 2023. And the strategy is pretty simple. You're going to do a set holdings, and you're going to allocate 33% each in each of these things. So you're going to do it on SPY, you're going to do it in TLT, and you're going to do it in QQQ, and you are going to show what the result is. Okay, and you're going to show the log as well. Okay, so if what are the prices that it got filled as well. So that is your challenge number one. It's a pretty simple strategy. The only thing you need to do is to add self ticker 1, self ticker 2, or give out any other names. You can even change it to small letter SPY. Doesn't make any difference, you know, it still will go through. And then if not portfolio invested, then basically run 3 lines, which is basically set the holdings, and then you see how it goes, and you can mix up with your own different platforms, or different stocks, and see what the result is. So that will be our first challenge. It's really imperative you do the challenge. If you have doubts or something, just give me a comment and I will try to respond it as quickly as possible. If I don't respond, somebody else can respond as well. So hopefully you were able to finish that challenge now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the next stage. Let's make this more exciting. Let's add in an indicator. So let's add in a moving average. So QuantConnect has got lots of built-in indicators which you can find in their document page. Many of the famous ones like moving average, Bollinger Band, momentum, all the things are there available there. So it's easy for us to code many of the strategies, many of the indicators. So let's start with the simple moving average. So I'm going to do SMA, and then we're going to call, obviously we need the SMA of the SPY. So it will be self.ticker.symbol as we discussed before, and we need to declare the period as well. So the period will be 30 period. So I'm not going to give in a resolution here because resolution by default is generally daily, but if you want to give a resolution daily, you can give it just like this one here. And then let's store this into let's call it self.newMA. Okay, so now we've got self.newMA stored in self.SMA. Okay, now let's plot both of these things. So as you know, on data is where every single time data comes in, that on data function gets run. Initialize is only used to initialize the initial variables. So let's do a self.plot. So self.plot, and I'm going to call it SPY, and then let's name it as the MA100. So MA100, because we will, well, MA100 is sorry, so this should be 100. So let's do MA30 because we've actually initiated MA30 here, and then let's plot the current value of the moving average. So self.newMA dot current value. So that will give us the plot of the moving average. Now let's also plot the current price of it. So SPY. So it's in the same chart, and then we're gonna call it SPY itself, and then we're just gonna write in self.ticker.price. Price. So this will give us the SPY current price, and the current value, the MA value, will also be printed, and this will be printed on the same chart, and for the time periods from 2020 to 2023. So I hope we don't have any errors in this. Just gonna run that. Okay, we do have an error. So the error has no attribute current value. Oh, so I think the mistake I made is it's actually current dot value. That should sort out the problem. Gonna run it again, and I'm gonna close the previous one so we can free out at least some memory from that. Okay, so the test has been done, and now if I can scroll down, you'll see this thing called SPY here, because that's the chart that we decided to draw. If I click on it, you'll see the chart here. Then I can expand this. Expansion is slightly sometimes tricky. Yeah, there you go. So now we've got that 30 period moving average right there, which is following the SPY price. So SPY price is the one on the black, and the moving average MA30 is the one on the blue line. So there you go. So you've learned now how to plot a graph. You also learn now how to create a moving average, and with the different symbols and all the resolutions and everything. So now let's make a change. Let's make it more exciting. Let's do it like in a 100-day moving average. So one of the things you need to be careful when you do moving average for many days is you need to warm up the data. So when you actually enter the trade, you have to make sure that there is 100 days have already passed, so that it can use as a condition to enter. So one of the things that we do is to do self.set warmup. So it's basically set warmup, and then we need to declare the time period. So 100 will give us 100 days. So after 100 days, then it makes the decision on when to make the trades or not. So another thing you need to do is when we do the set warm-up, there could be, since on data is run every single time you receive a data, one of the things you need to do is you need to make sure that the if in case we're still in the warm-up stage, we need to get out. We don't want to make any trade. So self dot is warming up. We don't need to put any self or value. We'll just do if self is warming up, and then we'll return. So what happens now is that it'll return this entire function if the thing is still being warmed up. Okay, so now let's create a condition. So our condition is going to be something a bit more exciting rather than just, you know, if not self portfolio invested. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to enter the condition if not self portfolio invested, then we check in another condition, and that will be if self.new.ma.current.value. So if the moving average, if the current price is greater than the moving average, so let's also do that. So self.ticker.price is greater than self.newma.current.value, then we do the market order. Otherwise, we don't place a trade on it. So now, as you can see, we have actually created if the portfolio is invested. So every single time a data goes in, it checks whether it's warming up. If it's not warming up, then we won't place any trades. We'll get out of this function. So if it is, you know, if the warm up has been done, then it checks this one if the portfolio is invested or not. If the portfolio is not invested, then it goes to the next condition and see if the current closing price is greater than the moving average value. And then if that is true, then we enter the ticker. We enter the market order. Then we're going to plot this as well. So this is going to be 100-day moving average. So the number of trades might be less. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully this time we don't have any errors. So yeah, we didn't have any errors for this time. And if I can scroll down, there we go. So we've possibly got maybe one trade has been there. Exit was not done because we didn't create an exit condition. So I guess this is the time to create an exit condition as well. So we make the trade more exciting. So I'm going to delete off these back tests, and then I'm going to create an exit condition as well. So how can we exit a strategy? So let's make it more simple so that you guys can get it easily. So if self.ticker.price is less than self.newma.current.value, and then we need to liquidate the position. So the best way to liquidate is just using self.liquidate. So this will get out of all the positions that we were expecting. And I think we also need to do one more condition. So we'll also do that if the portfolio is invested. So we don't have to liquidate for no reason, right? So if self.portfolio invested, portfolio.invested. So if you're already in a trade and then we see that, hey, look, the current price is now less than the moving average, then we get out of the position. So hopefully this will also go through. So I'm just going to run this now. So while it runs, the other thing we can do is we can also do like a debug to see what time or what price the moving average and the current value is when the order is placed. So we can confirm that our trades are working accurately. So that is really crucial. So anyways, we've gone here and we have actually done the trade. You can see the fees have substantially increased this time because now we're actively trading. We're entering and exiting the trades multiple times. So we've done a total of 39 trades here this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this one, and I'm going to write in a debug order. So we're going to type in self.debug, as you know before. So I'm just going to copy this one here so we can save some time. Copy. And then we're going to write insert number of shares. We're just going to write the moving average. The price, we'll write current price. Current price is greater than. So this one will be self.ticker.symbol. So let's change that to self.ticker.price. Self.ticker.price. So it'll just be in normal brackets. Then we're just going to close this. So current price is greater than moving average, then MA, and we're going to call it self.ticker.current value. So self.ticker not ticker, it's self.new ma.current value. So I'm just going to copy paste this one here. Command copy. So normally when you have all these brackets, sometimes it can create like a bit of error. So just want to make sure that we don't have any error. So this one is self.ticker.price. Just see this one. Now, so there's two selves there. So I'm going to delete that off. Self.ticker.price, that's this one, and then self.new ma.current value. So let's also write the debug for the exit condition as well. So when we liquidate, so this will be current price is less than the moving average. So let's see if our log agrees with the trades being entered and exited. So number of trades is the same. So now I'm going to go down to the log section. Okay, so current price is greater than 305, MA is 285. So I should have left some space in there so it'll have it more clearly. So anyway, so current price 305 is greater than 285, so we entered there. Now current price is less than 290, current price 295 is less than 298, which makes sense, and that's why we exited there. And then again we ended, current price is greater than 282, well MA is 281, so we entered. So I'm just going to make this more more nicely done. It's greater. Greater than MA. I'm going to type we are entering because current price, and then we are exiting because current price is, going to put some space here, so put some space there, it's less than MA. And this time it should be much more clearer in the log section. So these are some of the things that you need to do it when you are coding strategies, otherwise you will not know where you're making the mistakes or if your trades are actually being done the right way or not. So let's see here, we are entering because current price 305.04 is greater than MA 285, which is true. And then we are exiting because current price 295.81 is less than 298, which is true. Then again we are entering because 282 is greater than 281, and then we are exiting because 280 is less than 281. So you understand the point. So this is very imperative in your coding, creating the debug section. So now let's go to our next challenge. So our next challenge is pretty simple. So our challenge is to create a moving average crossover in Apple. So far we've just created one MA, that is the 100-day moving average. So I want you to create two MAs, and I want you to create a strategy which is a moving average crossover strategy, and I want you to put it in another simple, instead of SPY, just do it in QQQ. And I also want you to create a good debug so that you can assess the information. And I want you to plot both these graphs, the graphs of the moving average, the first moving average, the second moving average, and also the current price. That's it. That's all the strategy. That's the challenge that's required for you right now. So that is, I think, our second challenge. And make sure you have a longer start to end date. So the reason why I'm keeping it minimal is so that, you know, the backtest happens quite fast, because QuantConnect is, like I said before, it's like a cloud system, so it takes a while for a backtest and the video is going to get long. So yeah, so hopefully you will be successful in the second challenge. Okay, so now let's move on to a bit more into indicators. Let's do an RSI as well, so you guys are thorough with the whole indicator aspect. So moving average is quite a simple indicator. So again, if you want to add an RSI, there are built-in RSI functions in QuantConnect. So self.rsi, and then obviously it's a self.ticker symbol. So you just need to copy paste this one into here. And then you just need to declare the period. So I'm going to do a 14 period, which is the default, even though the strategies in our course, we do completely different time periods. So if you guys want to check out our course, you can visit our website, quantprogram.com. This is probably the only quantitative trading course which does codes in TradingView, PineScript, in Army Broker, and in Python via QuantConnect. So I don't think there is any course out there which does it through all the platforms. So we are the only ones who are actually doing it across any quantitative space out there. So we've got 10 strategies, and we've also talked about Monte Carlo simulation and walk forward and optimization. And we launched this course 2 years ago, and the strategies that we designed, except for the crude oil strategy, all of them have outperformed the market, and they've done pretty good. So even if you are a trader who's just looking to code in TradingView, or just want to execute it in QuantConnect, it's all up to you. But anyways, the course is out there if you fancy checking it out. Yeah, so we've got the self.ticker.symbol, and we've got the periods as well. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the resolution daily as well, because by default it's resolution daily, but just so that you guys can get it, you know, you might want to use a shorter time frame if you fancy. So resolution.daily. So now we've got the RSI values of 40 period RSI stored into something, so we need to store it. So let's call it self.rsi. So now we've got the RSI thingy, and what I need to do is you know, the namings of this is kind of complicated. self.newma.current.value. It's kind of frustrating. You saw how I made an error. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make it easier so that I don't make any errors. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write in RSI underscore value equals self.rsi.current.value. So now this self.rsi, every time a data is released, is now stored into RSI value. So now it'll be easy for me to code it. So now let's make it kind of interesting. So obviously if self.ticker.price is greater than self.ma.current value, then we are entering, right? So let's add in another condition as well. So let's call in and the RSI value is less than 10. So how about that? So that'll be pretty cool, isn't it? So in that way, we have added another condition to it. We made sure that when we're entering, we are entering at a pullback. We're not entering for any reason. So hopefully this will run through as well. I didn't do any errors. Now, if you might have spotted the errors much faster than I have, but let's see. So that took 3 seconds for us to run. So now suddenly the fees has dropped down to $7. Hey. The returns are not that great, but there you go. We've actually got the number of trades gone down. The compounding annual return is just 0.03. It's not the greatest strategy in the past 2 years, but I would believe that if we actually increase the time frame, if I do it from a longer time, so let's try it. I mean, I'm gonna reduce the time frame of it. So from 2010 to 2023, how did this strategy work in the SPY? So this will be slightly take longer than expected in our backtest, but I'm willing to give it some time because you guys need to know from a theoretical perspective how the backtest works in long term. So this time it was just 5 seconds, so that's not that bad. So we've done $33 in fees. So the strategy is only making extremely few amount of trades for that time period. It makes sure that the RSI value is less than 10, when we enter. So it waits for that pullback and then makes a trading decision based on that. So now you guys understood how to do the RSI values, how to do the new MA. So another thing I want you to do is about the filled price. So far you just know that when we're entering, we are just entering when the conditions are met, and then we're basing the trades on that one. So what happens is that we don't know what the filled price and those kind of things are. So again, QuantConnect has got a built-in function, so it's called on order event. So I'm just going to write that def on order, so def on order event and self.order event. So what happens is that whenever an order is done, the trades will be called out, right? So this function will be called out, and this function has got lots of information in it. Like you can get the filled price, so you know at what price is being filled. So when this condition is met, the trade is done the next day, or the trade is done in the next bar. So at that point of time, the filled price might not be the exact price as the current price, because as you know, when you click on a buy market order, the filled price could be absolutely different. So this is quite crucial, because when we know the filled price, that's after we calculate the filled price, that's when we know we can calculate the stop loss and trading stop loss and all those things are going to be. So we're just going to do def.order.event, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to store the transactions, right? So what I'm going to do is self.transactions and get order by. These are all built-in stuff. Dot get order by ID, and then order event. So we got the order ID here, but the order event is this one here. So order event dot order ID. So I'm going to store this somewhere. I'm going to store this to order, so coding will be much easier. So hopefully I haven't made any errors in this one. So this is one of the biggest frustrations of Python, because it's kind of, it's much superior than C++ and all those things I did years ago. But so now I'm going to do the self.log so that we store it in the log style. So I'm going to do in different sections. So I need to format it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 0, 1, and 2. So you'll understand it once the thing is done. So 0. I'm going to put this in curly brackets. Cool. And then we need to format that. So dot format. So this order ID has got lots of information in it. So let's kind of like display some of the information in it. So dot format. I'm going to do the time at which we get filled. So self.time, comma, and then order.type, so what kind of order was filled. So we know that it's market orders, but we just want to double check it. And then obviously the order event, order.type, and then order event. Okay, so let's see what, and I'm gonna take out this RSI value because it was reducing our number of trades. So yeah, let's run that. Okay, so this time we got more realistic chart, because we've been backtesting from 2000 something, 2010 was it? Been backtesting from 2010. So okay, so we've got this trades, we've got a high number of fees, so there's lots of trades that has happened. So I'm going to scroll down to the logs, and you can see here, okay, we are exiting because current price is 390 is less than MA 391, which is true. And then you can see the order quantity. Okay, submitted quantity is -1, symbol is SPY, and you can also see the order fees. So the order fee is $1 USD. So this is again something crucial, that we have got the information to find out what the details about all our strategies are. So because we are exiting, this order event ID is kind of taken into consideration here. So again, we are entering here. So we got the fill price as well, as you can see here. Fill price is 393.5578, which is kind of different from that current price, because the order is executed the next bar. So similarly here, let's do the here. We're entering because the current price 394 is greater than 391, which is true because the current close is closer higher than the moving average. And then an order is submitted and the order ID get long, so quantity one market order is being submitted, and then the filled quantity is 1, the filled price is 396.6961, and the order fee is 1 USD. Of course, there are brokers now offering no commission fee at all, so there's ways to remove that section, the fee section, completely from the backtest as well, which we'll discuss later in this video. So you guys got an idea. So this is like 25 pages of information that we can track. So this will be really crucial for us to double check where we are. And since we have now got the fill price, now what we can do is we can actually calculate the stop loss and take profit and all those other things, which is extremely crucial in creating strategy. So let's do the challenge number 3. So the challenge number 3 is pretty simple. So what we're going to do is, you've got the RSI, you've got the moving average. I want you to create a strategy just based on RSI and price, completely ignore the moving average, and I want you to enter via RSI and current price, and I also want you to exit via RSI and current price. And that could be anything. It could be something like RSI is less than 30 or RSI is less than 10, and exit when RSI is above 90 or things like that, you know. And then I want you to get the transactions, get the order ID, and see the fill type. So what you will see is that you'll see a massive discrepancy in the filled price, and that is because the order is executed the next bar. So do that challenge and then we can go into the next stage. Okay, so now let's go to create a stop loss order. So the advantage is that QuantConnect has got its own default way of calculating a stop loss order or creating a stop loss order, but we'll discuss 2 ways of creating it. So the first way is by just going into where you enter the trade, that if statement, and then just typing in self.stop market order, and then we have the symbol. So basically we just need to take self.ticker and then just paste it here, dot capital symbol, and then the quantity will be -1 because we're entering 1 position, so we just put in -1, and then we need to mention the stop price. So in this case we need to calculate the stop price, right? So let's say we're doing a 10% stop loss, so we can do self.securities and bracket self.ticker.symbol. So I'm just going to copy this one here. Okay, and then since we are just doing 10%, that'll be multiplied by 0.90. So basically it calculates a closing price into 0.90, so you get the 90% of that. And if the market is now trading below that, which is basically below the 10%, it executes the stop market order. So now let's run this code. Hopefully there is no, oh yeah, there's one more thing to add. So we need to mention the close asterisk 0.90, and I think that should work now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment out this exit condition so we can clearly see where the stop loss was executed. So I'm going to do that, comment that off, and then I'm just going to delete this thing. So run the code again. Okay, so we have got a result here. So I'm going to go into the order section, and as you can see here, we have ended the SPY, and then we have exited as well using a stop market order. So we ended at 90 something, and then we exited at 80.40. So it won't be exact 10% because of, you know, slippage and all those other things. So if I can expand on it, I can see the date was 10/07, and you can see the reason why it was due to unfavorable gap and blah blah blah, American New York order fill using the open price. So yes, so here we go, we've got a simple stop loss order. So let's do another way. Let's do the way that I like to do it, and the reason why I like to do this way is because it's almost exact way of doing the take profit as well. So it is simple to understand. So for that, what we'll need is, I'm just going to copy these 2 conditions here, or these 3 conditions. Come on, copy. Then I'm going to paste this one. So if we are in a trade, right, and if self.ticker price is less than self.portfolio, so that should be somewhere here, self.portfolio, command copy, going to paste that one here, self.portfolio, self.ticker symbol, dot average price, which we discussed before, average price, which will basically tell us what price we got filled, and asterisk 0.90. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a bracket here so that for my own peace of mind. So basically what it does is that it checks if the stock price right now is less than the 90% or whatever was the movement that we calculated it. So basically 10% stop loss. Now let's see the result of these both, and we're going to run this code. Okay. So if you can look at both these results here, scroll up. So you can see one is 349.62, the other one is 349.83. So why is there a difference in either one of those? So let's go down and go into the order section. So this sell order was liquidated or at 10.07. If you can go to the first one that we did, that was also liquidated at 10.07. Now, why is the prices different? Because it's the way it's applied. So this one, it's just a minor difference because this one is a stop market order. So the way it was applied could be slightly delayed or maybe slightly early, but it was exactly on the same date. So these are the minor differences that you can see by applying different things. But at the end of the day, when the new bar is printed, it basically checks the past bars and comes to a conclusion whether to execute the order or not. So here, since we have dictated that a function of self.stop market order is given, it approaches it differently. So you can see the fill price of this one is 80.19 as compared to this one, the fill price is 80.40. So it is a difference. The difference is significant, but the way it functions is pretty much the same. So I tend to prefer it by giving it like this, because for me, the condition is checked on the previous bar and then the order is passed. So hopefully you guys understood how to apply stop loss orders in both these forms. So what you choose, it's up to you really on how you how you want your coding to be done. So just because the stop market order was more profitable this time, because we got 349.83 there and 349.62, doesn't mean that that'll be the same every single trade, because sometimes this could be in a slightly loss situation and this could be in a slightly profit situation. So it depends on where the order is passed and when the order is passed as well. So that could be a slight delay of 1 second, or it could be a slight delay of 2 seconds, and that can play a significant difference. So here, since we're using a daily situation, so I'm testing the previous bar is lower than that bar, then pass the trade. The other one, the order is already being sent for a stop loss, so when the bar opens, it goes through this order and then executes it. So the approach is slightly different, but the idea is pretty much the same. So that's a stop loss. So now let's do the take profit as well. So take profit is almost exactly the same as this one. Command copy and command paste. The only difference is that let's do a 30% take profit. So 30% will be multiplied by 1.30, and that will give us a 30% take profit. So as of now, we've given a stop loss of 10% and a take profit of 30%. So let's make some minor changes into this, and let's make this a proper trade. So we've got the strategy cash. So here we've done 100,000. So let's reduce that to $5,000. So let's make it more realistic. We've got it on the SPY. And then instead of using just one contract order, I'm going to do 100% equity. So basically, realistically, we're going to invest our money for trading, right? So basically, we'll just do the set holdings and just remove this off from here. So 100% of that $5,000 invested. So now let's do a proper backtest. So this will be our first actually proper backtest of a strategy. So strategy is pretty simple. If it's above the current moving average, we're going to invest our $5,000 in this SPY, and then we are going to have a stop loss of 10% and a take profit of 30%. So the moving average is basically 100-day moving average. We're not using RSI or anything as of now. We're just going to make it simple, and we are going to run the trade. Okay, so the code has been successfully run. It looks like a pretty decent strategy. We've got 430% return, and the fees is $21. So let's scroll down to the details of it. So remember, we had a 30% stop loss and a take profit of 30% and a stop loss of 10%. You can see it's almost close. It's 29.73 and minus 9.73, and that's basically the slippage and all the other gaps and everything that comes into play, because sometimes gaps can be in your favor. So in recently one of our strategies, which we gave out free and also in our course, the gap in the end video was a favor for us, because the market opened as a massive gap and we actually made more money than expected before the exit condition was signaled. So sometimes you will have a bigger profit and sometimes you will have a lesser loss, and sometimes it can be in a negative framework as well. You can slightly have a lower profit and also a larger loss as well. So our stop loss and take profit has worked significantly well. We have got a CAGR, that's a compound annual growth rate of 10%, and a drawdown of 31%. Now this is a really decent strategy. The reason why I say it's decent is the average SPY buy and hold gives us 10%, but the drawdown is 57 or 56% or something, which happened during the global financial crisis. Now, if you're taking the Great Depression as well, the drawdown would be 80% or something like that. So this strategy, we have a CAGR to drawdown ratio is superior to the S&P 500 buy and hold, SPY buy and hold, and that's our goal as quantitative traders. We need to beat that SPY buy and hold, not only in the returns but also in the drawdown metrics as well. So the next challenge that we have to do is go to the YouTube channel, and there is a strategy called RSI strategy backtested in PineScript TradingView. So if you can go on to that one, and if you can see the conditions, if you go somewhere far forward. So basically the condition is pretty simple. There's a stop loss and take profit of 1 is to 3, which is 30% and 10%. And then you've seen the conditions here. The RSI should be less than 30, and then the close should be greater than the 150-day moving average, but the close should be less than the 30-day moving average. And the RSI period is, I believe, 5. Can't zoom into it, but basically it's 5. So I want you to create that strategy and run it in QuantConnect. So we've already showed you how to calculate the RSI. We've already shown you how to calculate the moving average. We've already shown you how to do the stop loss and take profit. So the entry condition is pretty simple. The close should be greater than the 150-day moving average. The RSI value should be less than 30. And the close should be less than the moving average of simple moving average of 30, and then stop loss of 10% and take profit of 30%. So for this one, we've done it across many stocks. We've done it basically in Microsoft. So you pick your simple. We'll do with Microsoft and SPY, and you do that strategy and see what you get. So this is a bit of a challenge, but once you get this, you can confidently move on to the next section. These challenges are very crucial if you want to learn coding. If you don't do it, then you will be a bit of a laggard. You'll have to come back to this video. So self-learning and writing your own code is important for your trading in a quantitative trading journey. Okay, so hopefully the challenge has gone well, and now we move into our next stage. So I'm going to save this entire code and leave the link in the description box, so if in case you face any kind of errors, you can go back and refer to the code. I'll also leave a link to our Fiverr or Upwork link, so if you want to use any of our coding services to create a strategy, you can contact us and we can do that for you as well. So now moving on to the next stage, one of the things that can happen is that sometimes you don't have a daily strategy. You want to do like a bar which is 5 minute is available, but like let's say a custom bar like a 30-minute bar or a 45-minute bar. We've got a resolution.daily, which is the default, but sometimes you can have resolution.daily is a default, and then you can have resolution.minute. I think resolution.tick is available, but it all depends on the product that you have. Because some product you have tick data, some products you don't have tick data, so you might have to go into the doc section to figure out that thing. So anyways, this section will be in creating custom bars. So let's do something for like a 30-minute bar. So the first thing what I will do if I want to create a 30-minute bar is that there's nothing available by default in QuantConnect to choose a 30-minute bar. But by default there is a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to minute in every areas where there is the daily. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new 30-minute bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete off most of the things that's here. So we don't need the order event. I've explained this already. On data as well, I'm going to delete this off. I'm just going to do just def on data and pass. And now I'm going to create a new 30-minute bar. So the first thing we need to do is we have a thing called self.consolidate function. So self.consolidate, so that consolidates the data and helps us create what's necessary. So here's the explanation of the function of the consolidate. So our symbol is basically self.ticker.symbol, and then we have the time delta. So basically our idea is to create a 30-minute bar, right? So time delta will be minutes equal to 30. So for example, if it's like you want to create a monthly bar, then it will be time delta days equals 30 or 22, because you know you've got 22 working days, and then 8 holidays, so roughly it comes around 30. So and then we're going to create a new function which creates this whole bar. So I'm going to call it self dot on data consolidated. So on data consolidated. Okay, so we've created a function, and now we need to create that self dot on data consolidated. So I'm going to go and create that def on data consolidated. Okay, and then I'm going to write self comma bar, because we are invoking the function, and then we're going to store the bar details to self.current bar. So self.current bar, just call it self.current bar. You can go whatever you want, but I'm just going to use it self.current bar because we're creating a new bar. So the naming has to be something which can be understood. And then self.plot, I'm going to plot this 30-minute bar. I'm going to call it a 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, and then I'm going to do self dot current bar dot close. Okay, so basically every bar's close will now be plotted on a 30-minute chart, and this will be the function. I'm just going to do it for just one day. So let's do 2023 6/6. So you just have 1 day's data. And let's see what happens then. Yeah, I forgot to name this one here. So there's one more thing. So we need to name the line of that one. So this should sort out the issue. Let's close these things again. And I think now it should give you a graph called 30-minute close. Okay. So here you will see a thing called 30-minute chart. So if I can just click on that one, and this, yeah, there you go. So you can see there's close, that is the 4 o'clock data and the market closed, and then you've got 10 o'clock data, 10:30 data, 11, 11:30, 12, 12:30, and it just goes on. So now so far we've got all the details necessary for us to create a strategy on the 30 minutes. So we've got the 30-minute data. Now we can work on a strategy with the 30-minute data. So let's create a moving average based on the 30-minute as well. So we've got a new MA, and we've got a ticker symbol, and we've got a 100-period moving average. So we've got a warm-up period of 100. So it takes basically takes 100 periods of the 30-minute and basically warms it up before anything happens. And then now let's create a new thing. We'll just write in self.new MA30 equals none. So we kind of initiated that one, and then let's go down, and if self.new MA30 is none, then we need to create a self.new MA, right? So that will be self.new MA30 equals self.SMA bracket, we know the symbol, so self.ticker.symbol, comma, 30 periods. If you want to do 30 period, we'll just do 30 period moving average as of now. And then we have got the moving average created. Now on the other hand, if the moving average has been created already, then that'll be an else statement, right? Then we need to update the moving average every single time. So that will be else. Forgot to do that one there. Self.new MA30 we need to update that. So we'll update, and we got the bar, right? So we've got to feed in that daily detail. So bar.end time, so that'll give us the time, end time, and bar.close, comma, bar.close. So this will give us the updation of every single time a moving average is created, a new bar is created. Then at that point of time, we've got the moving average being updated as well. So now we need to make sure we can plot this as well. So now let's do the plotting of it. So if self.new MA30 dot is ready, so we've got some values for that, then MA30 value. So I'm just going to give a name so it's easy for us to code it in the future, so we don't have to write in the current value all the time. So new MA30 dot current dot value. So we've got the every single time a moving average is printed, a 30-minute moving average is printed, we store it to MA30 value. And then let's plot that thing. So I'm just going to copy paste this one. So I want it to be plotted on the same chart as before. So we're not going to make much changes to it, but we're going to call it 30-minute MA, 30 period 30-minute MA self, and we're going to change this one to MA30 underscore value. So let's see if everything is okay. New MA30 dot current dot value. Bar dot end time, comma, bar dot close, self dot new MA30. Yeah, so hopefully I think I haven't made any errors here. So let's try plotting it and see what we get. So running the code. Okay, so seems like the code went well. So I'm going to go down, and here we go. We've got the details here. So you can see the moving average is being printed, and also the close is also being printed. So you can see the close is 425, 424, and then you can see the 11 o'clock, and then 425, 426, and there you go. So even though we have only done from 6th of June, so if you can go all the way up from the 6th of June, the thing is that we've got data from the 5th of June, and the reason why we have that is because we have actually done a warm-up of that 100 period. So if I actually remove this and run that again, what you'll see is you can see that it's starting from 10 o'clock, but that's an issue because the moving average is being calculated at 10:30 and that's a problem because we haven't warmed up the period. So let's say we do a strategy where the close is greater than the moving average. Because the moving average is 0 here, the trade will be ended as a buy from June 6th. So that's why it's really imperative that you actually do a set warm-up so that the warm-up period is done, and that goes across for every single indicator that you use for any strategies. So I'm going to close these things now so we can save some memory. Yeah, so now let's create a strategy. Let's create that exact same strategy that I was talking about, like if the close is greater than the moving average. So if, just going to copy exactly this one here. So command copy. So if self.new MA is not none, so we've got self.new MA, and self.new MA is ready because the warm-up is done, then the current bar end time, so I'm just going to create a new variable, current bar end time, which I can use it, bar end time equal to self dot current bar dot end time. So we can save the end time into current bar end time, which you can use in the future, right? And the thing is that we're creating a bar every 30 minutes, and we are actually making a trade at the opening of every single 30-minute bar. So we don't want to make a trade on like the 32nd minute or the 38th minute because the bar is being created every 30 minutes. So what happens in the on data is that on data gets executed every single time there is a minute, because we've actually declared a minute based data. So every single time a minute data is created, the on data function gets called. So we don't want to pass an order every single minute. We want to actually pass an order every single 30 minutes, and that's why we are trying to create this condition. So I'm going to create if self.last trade time. So we need to initiate the self.last trade time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the self.last trade time equals none. So I'm going to copy paste this one equals none. So that's been initiated there. And then I'm just going to go down. If self.last trade is not none, so it's not none, and current bar end time minus self.last trade time is less than time delta minutes equals 30. So any minute which is less than that time or in the middle of that, then return. So we'll get out of the whole, whole function. Then now let's create the strategy now. So far everything looks good. I'm just going to run it just to see if there are any errors. Meanwhile, when that's going on, I'm going to create the code. So MA30 underscore value. So that kind of went okay without any errors. So I'm going to create something which, so that we can make it so simple. The coding self.new MA30 dot current dot value. So that gets stored into MA30 value, and then we have to store the current price as well. So close underscore price equals self dot current bar dot close. Awesome. So let's create the strategy. So basically like we did before. So if close underscore price is greater than MA30 underscore value and self dot new MA30. So we don't want to have a situation where the new MA.30 has not been created, so it's not none. Then we need to create a buy signal, right? So let's just do self.set holdings here. Set holdings, and then self.ticker.symbol, ticker.symbol, comma 1, so 1.0, so it's basically the entire holdings. We can do a debug. Let's just write in self.debug, debug buy signal, and then we have to store the time, right? So self.last trade time equals current bar end time. So now that current bar end time gets stored into that last trade time. And then now let's do the exit condition as well. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing. And then if close price is less than MA30 value, so this can be removed or put, doesn't make much of a difference because there will be an MA30 value then. Set holdings, so we have to liquidate this, self.liquidate. So we don't need the number here because it will liquidate the whole thing. And then we can just write in sell signal. And then self.last trade time is equal to current bar end time. So there you go. So far, hopefully, there is no errors. But you can imagine how many times you could get errors when you create coding strategies because of the amount of letters and words that you use. And that's why I like to keep it to minimal. I like to assign values to it. But when you assign values, make sure it's meaningful because one day you'll have to come back to it, this code, and then it might not make sense if you just leave M or C in there. So let's see if everything is not MA30 value, close price, MA30 current value, current bar dot close. Okay, so hopefully this will go through. Okay, so we have got an error. So let's see where the error has happened. Local variable current bar end time reference before assignment. Okay, and that is line 46. So let's go down to 46. Yeah, I know where the error is. So basically these should be inside the if statement. So all these conditions should only be set when this condition is met. So I'm just going to put that in there, and that should sort out the issue. So you can see just creating accidentally an if statement outside of what we intended can create an issue. So hopefully this should sort out the issue now. That's not going to go through as well. So just going to write in self.last trade time. So that'll be here. Oh yeah. So this should sort out that issue. Self.ticker.symbol. And now let's go through it. Okay, so there you go. Finally, we've got it sorted out. So these are some of the things that you could face while you create a strategy, the amount of errors. So let's see how the strategy worked. So let's go into orders. So a buy signal is initiated at 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock is here. The close price is 425 and the MA is 424. So basically 425 is greater than 424 and the trade was selected at 10 o'clock. And then at 11:30 a sell situation was created. So let's see what happened at 11:30. 11:30 is right there. So 11:30, the 30-minute MA is 426, which is greater than the close of $425. So then we exited our position. And then we must have ended right here again because the close is higher. So that'll be at 12 o'clock. So let's see. Yep, there you go. At 12 o'clock, another buy condition was triggered and we entered the trade. So there you go. So now you know how to create an indicator in a custom-based time frame. Here we did a 30-minute time frame, and also how to create closing prices in the daily high and the daily low. So we can actually do, instead of close, if you do high and low, you'll get those data. So if you want custom data, like if you want like a 3-minute chart and you need to work on that one, which is also a good idea. So if If you create strategies just on one specific time frame, it might be tricky. So one of the things that I like to we teach in the course is basically to create strategies from a variety of ideas, like it could be from a trend following, from a momentum following, or from a mean reverting strategy, but also in different time frames, which can range from daily to monthly, sometimes even weekly if you fancy. You can also do shorter term time frames, but I'm not a big fan of day trading strategies, especially in quantitative trading, because of all the difficulties because of the backtest and everything. It's really hard to create day trading strategies which are successful in quantitative trading, but overnight strategies seem to work spectacularly well. So here's the challenge, the next challenge for you. So we created a 30-minute chart and we create a moving average. So what I want you to do is create an RSI and also a moving average, and also to create a bar. And instead of 30-minute, I want you to do a 4-hour chart of data, and also create a strategy with the RSI and also with the moving average, which is based on this 4-hour chart, and run the strategy. So it can be any strategy that you wish, but make sure it has the RSI, make sure it has a moving average, and make sure it is on a 4-hour chart, and make sure the RSI and SMA are calculated based on that time frame as well. So now we're going to go into the next stage of our learning process, and that is to create a dynamic universe. So a dynamic universe would be to create a portfolio of stocks which we can associate different positions to. So like it'll allocate like 2% capital or 5% capital or 10% capital, and then we can dynamically change what kind of stocks we're entering. So most of the trading platform, like for example PineScript, they only let you trade backtest one stock at a time. So AmiBroker on the other hand helps you do that dynamic portfolio, and QuantConnect is also another one which helps you backtest dynamic portfolio and also execute the dynamic portfolio. So one of the things that I've observed is that when you have a strategy that's applied to multiple stocks, you're more likely to have returns which is similar to the backtest as compared to just using one stock, because you are now having a smoother equity curve because that strategy is applied to many different stocks. So that's what we're going to discuss now. So what I want you to do is go to the lab section, and then most likely you'll have different different code environments. So I want you to shut down all of it, so that kind of frees out the space in QuantConnect, and just create a new algorithm. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the on data thingy, and then we've got the initialize date, so I'm going to create the self set end date as well. Just going to give it 2022/66 and then 16. So we've got like a 6 month. Let's put it 2023, so it's recent. Okay. Set cash is 10,000, and I'm going to remove these off. Okay, and then we need to declare the universe, right? So we want a dynamic universe. So one of the things we need to do is initially we'll just do self.universe settings, and we'll do the resolution daily dot resolution equals resolution dot daily. So we are taking a daily strategy here, and then we will create the universe. Okay, so it is pretty simple. We'll just do self.add universe, and then we will create a function to create what other characteristics we want from that universe. So what I'm going to do is I'm just create a new function. So let's do a selection filter. Okay, selection filter. So now, since we created a selection filter, we need to define that function, right? So def selection filter, and then we're going to pass certain parameters to it. So obviously one is self, and the other one is course. So course is the parameter that we use to get information for the specific stock that we need we get from the universe, and then we can get information. We can dissect that information from that. So we'll go there, and then what we're going to do is we will let's say we need to find out stocks which are the most liquid, and I am going to find that by assessing the volume of that specific stock. So there are lots of information we can get from these stocks. Like for example, we can check whether it has got a fundamental data. We can find out if there's got volume. So if you're checking if the stock has got fundamental data, then we can find out its market cap and all the price to earnings and all those things. But as of now, we'll just find the most liquid stock. So you can find all that information from the lab document section, and in the universe is in the equity side. So you can see a dollar volume, which takes a day's dollar volume. Then you can check whether it's got fundamental data and all those other things, price and stuff. So let's go and create find the stocks which has got the highest volume. So I'm going to just give out a name sorted by volume, and then we're going to use the sorted function, and then we're going to use course, which is that parameter, and then we're going to use the Python thing called lambda, which basically helps us sort out this thing based on the characteristics. So lambda x dot and then dollar volume. So x dot dollar volume. Okay, just gonna give a space so it looks kind of neat, and then we are going to place reverse equals true. So we've got an order that is reverse arranged. Okay, so this will give us the stock based on the dollar volume, which is arranged in an increasing fashion. All right, and then we can actually filter it even more. So we can say, okay, I only want stocks which are above $50 or above $10 or about $20. So I'm going to write in filtered. So filtered equals, going to get bracket x dot symbol, so it finds out all the symbols, and for x in sorted volume, so everything which we have sorted out in the dollar volume, sorted vol, if x dot price is greater than, let's say, $50. Okay, so now we have got the list of stocks which is greater than $50 arranged in a way that it is in the increasing form of the dollar volume. Okay, so we can choose how many stocks we want to return. So since we're just going to do a small test and we can get it faster, I'm just going to do return filtered, just maybe like 10 stocks right now. So that'll be simple for us. Okay, so we have actually now picked 10 stocks based on the volume in an increasing fashion, and all these stocks have greater than $50 as their price. Okay, so now let's define another one. So every time, for a dynamic portfolio, every time there's a security added and removed in that portfolio, so we can choose what kind of securities we want to be added and what kind of securities wanted to be removed. So here we have decided the 10 stocks which are arranged on the top 10 volume, isn't it? So sometimes every time it checks it, these stocks can be removed. So the top 10 volume stocks right now might not be the same next week and might not be the same next month. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the stock based on the fact that if it is not in the top 10. So in order to do that, we have a thing called def on securities change. So on securities change. So this is like a function that is created automatically in QuantConnect. So this helps us achieve it. So every single time a change has happened in the securities in that portfolio, the def on securities changed will be invoked. So we've got changes here. So self dot changes equal changes. So we've got the, we've saved the securities change to self dot changes. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a log. So self dot log, and so that we can see the securities that I've got in or not. So on securities changed, whatever, and then we can show the time when it was entered and exited. Brackets here. Okay, self dot times. Then also we can show them the changes as well, isn't it? So what are the stocks that got in and got out? Yeah, hopefully I didn't make any braces errors. So yeah, that's it. So hopefully we don't have any errors. I'm just going to run it and see. The object has no attribute log on securities change. So, oh yeah, there's a typo mistake here. So it's supposed to be capital L. C, okay, again, changes. I'm going to close that one and then run it again. Apologies for the errors that I'm making. These are like minor errors, so not minor, it's significant, but some of the typical errors that a person goes through while you're backtesting. Okay, so luckily this time our backtest has gone through. We haven't created any strategies. I just want to see what other securities that I've entered and exited. So you can see here on 0106, these are the securities that was added. Then these are securities that are removed and then added again, securities added, securities removed. So it keep on going. So now we've got all the symbols that, you know, from the top 10 volume stocks above $50. Okay, so now let's create like a strategy, being that if in case a security is added, we need to allocate 10% of our capital into it. And if the security is removed from that top 10, we need to get out of the strategy. Okay, it's a pretty simple strategy. So for that, we'll just use a for loop. So for security in, so first let's remove any securities that's there. So changes, again, I'm making that. Changes dot removed securities. Removed securities. So these are like by default the removed securities, so QuantConnect knows that. So if security dot invested, so if we have invested in that security, okay, then self dot liquidate that symbol. So security dot symbol. Okay, so that symbol will be removed. So, and then similarly, I'm just going to copy this one. So for changes in added securities, so if a security is being added into it, and then if not security invested, so if you have not invested in that security, then let's do set holdings. I've discussed what that is about. Security.symbol, so I'm just going to delete off this one. Security.symbol, comma 0.1. So there'll be a 10% invested in the security when it's being added. And then if in case the security is removed, and we check if the security is invested or not, if the security is invested and the security is being removed from that, you know, top 10, then we liquidate the symbol. Okay, so that's security there. Dot invested, changes to removed securities. Hopefully I haven't made any typos this time. I'm going to run that. So okay, so here we go. So we've got the returns. And let's see the amount of stocks it's gone through. You know, it's gone through quite a high amount of stocks. It's Meta, there's Google, there's J&J, QQQ, TLT, AMD, everything that you can get from that universe. Let's go into the returns of that. So, and return is 179% and drawdown is 5%. So, just to clarify, this was during this year, 2023. So I wouldn't take a big you know, positive element from it, because it's been kind of like a bull market this first 6 months of this year. So this backtest alone is not significant enough, but it shows how amazing it is to create a dynamic universe. So some of the best strategies that we teach in our course are basically dynamic universe strategies, and dynamic universe strategies can only be implemented, I believe, in quantitative trading format, because you can't you know, manually execute that many strategies. So this is one of the strategies that we teach in our course, and this includes the fees as well. And it's provided some great results over the years. I mean, the backtest was done from 1998, so we've also done it in Army Broker, where we backtested from 1994. And this strategy has beaten the market of S&P buy and hold. And if you can scroll down here, so this is the thing that I was talking about, the dynamic universe, the amount of stocks that it traded over the years. So manually, this is kind of impossible for an individual to do, especially if you're doing like multiple strategies. This is just one strategy. So if you're doing like 3 or 4 strategies, which suits different market environments, it is impossible for you to achieve manually. From a quantitative perspective, from a coding perspective, this is much easier. So if you can scroll down here, you can see the compounding annual return and the drawdown. So this has beaten the S&P 500 buy and hold because S&P 500 buy and hold during that period was roughly 10% with a drawdown of 57%. So if you want, you can apply leverage to this. So if you're doing like a 2:1 leverage, you can get like 24% somewhere around there, and then the drawdown increases as well. So you get now the CAGR to drawdown ratio similar to that of S&P 500, but with more returns. So most of the quantitative traders, they always look at the final returns, but in reality, most of the retail traders, but the advantage of quantitative traders, what they do is that they try to focus on the drawdowns. So if you can minimize the drawdowns as much as you can, the better, because then you can apply leverage and improve the net returns. So the elephant in the room will always be the CAGR to the drawdown ratio, and by optimizing you can increase the CAGR to drawdown ratio. So here's another strategy, again with fees included. This was the one with the 90 positions at one single time. Again, you can make changes to the strategies. Strategies in the course are just foundations for you to build on. So most of the students who've done this course, they improve on this strategy by increasing the inputs, by applying optimization and forward testing and watercolor simulation. They improve on this strategy. But these are all foundations. So again, another strategy which performed spectacularly well during the volatile market environment. So this one is not on a portfolio. This is a main reverting strategy on the SPY. So it has got both long condition and short condition. Again, we've applied fees in almost all these strategies. There are many brokers these days who are commission free. So the returns are going to be even higher if you can find a broker which is commission free. But I assume different countries have got different kinds of brokers. There are discount brokers out there. There's Robinhood kind of brokers. So it depends on what your brokerage platform is and what they are giving out. So yeah, this is the rough idea of what you want to build on, and just by using QuantConnect you can apply many of these strategies at the same time, and you just don't have to worry about any of these things, which is so much of an advantage as compared to a retail trader who is individually picking and individually trading every single time. Let's say if I want to implement this strategy and I want to go live, so what you'll see is here live trade project. So if I can click on that one, there will be a live deploy wizard. So if you want to see if your strategy works, okay, you can try the paper trading format, or you can choose your broker. So for example, here interactive brokers are there. So if you click on interactive brokers, they'll ask you for the username, account ID, account password, and the weekly restarts. And you can choose the data provider, which is the interactive broker. So and then you've got the nodes as well. So I have got one live node. So if you've got a bigger team, you can choose multiple live nodes, and you can see the CPU and the GB of RAM, and then you can run the deploy. And that's how simple it is in QuantConnect. And if you have any issues, you can contact QuantConnect and the interactive brokers team, because they are in sync and they'll know what to do about it if there's an issue with the execution and stuff. So this is the advantage of QuantConnect. It gives you this cloud-based system so that you don't have to set up an Amazon web service. You don't have to micromanage all these things just by creating an account in QuantConnect. Yeah, it is pricey. Yeah, you have to pay for it. But it's just as simple as that. So you can even give out your demo account of interactive brokers. So normally the live account starts from you, at least for me, it starts from you, and then you've got the numbers. For demo account, it will be you, the numbers, and it'll be D. So you can actually pass that and give out the ID and password and run it for a few days or a few months and see how it works, so you can find out if there's any issue with the strategies and stuff. So this is how simple it is to deploy a strategy live in QuantConnect. So now let's go back into this dynamic universe and let's make a few changes to it. Let's create a leverage. Okay, so one of the ways you can create a leverage is just by doing self dot universe settings, and then dot leverage equals 2. So depending on your broker, the brokers can give out different leverages. So there are brokers, CFD brokers, which give out massive leverages, but you can keep the leverage simple. So if you've got a strategy, let's say, so one of our strategies in a course, it's like, I believe it's like 10-11% CAGR, but the drawdowns is small as 12%. So now you can increase your returns by applying like 3-to-1 leverage. So you might get a 30% CAGR, but your drawdowns is still 30%. So it still beats the buy and hold of SPY, which is 10% CAGR, but the drawdowns is 56% or something. So that's the beautiful advantage of using leverage. If you can apply it intelligently, and if you can apply it in a dynamic universe, you're more likely going to get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this code, and you're going to see a big flaw. So because of the advantage of you putting a leverage, you can change this thing to 0.2, but this can issue with your buying power. So let me run this, and you will see the notification that it comes out. It'll give you out a warning saying that, you know, the order couldn't go through because of buying power. Let's see if it does go through. Yeah, there you go. Insufficient buying power to complete orders. Initial margin and then the free margin. So you might want to leave out some capital. So even though you have actually set the leverage of 2:1, you don't want to fill it entirety, because the leverage can be an issue. So I can put in like 0.112, and the rest of them will be allocated as capital, as cash. So we have got a room for error. So these are some of the small nuances that you should be aware about when you go live, because even though you are allocated a leverage, sometimes the order might not be executed because of lack of buying power. So this time we didn't have an issue with the leverage. So yeah, so again, the strategy, if we can go down, it's got, you know, again, much higher than the ones previously seen. Compounding annual return 479%. That was the leverage pass before. 179% was the first time we did it without the leverage, and now with a slight pick of leverage, we've got 230%. The one where we did 0.2, 20% allocated, where we did some of our orders got rejected, we had a 479% CAGR. But again, don't take the CAGR as realistic, because it's only backtested for a few months. We need to do walk forward test and also Monte Carlo simulation. So another thing I want to talk about is the optimization features. I personally don't use optimization here in QuantConnect. I use AmiBroker to optimize my values. One of our strategies, Q3 and Q2, we have done an optimization and walk forward test in our course. We did that in AmiBroker. So what optimization does is, let's say for example you're using RSI 14 period and you've got a strategy which works perfectly well. So sometimes if you do RSI 10 period, it might yield better CAGR to drawdowns than the RSI 14. So that's what optimization does. So it will, we can give out this variable, this RSI variable, and tell it to backtest from RSI 1 to RSI 100 and figure out, hey dude, which one should I go for? Which one is the best pick? And that's what optimization does. So optimization is a really great tool for quantitative analysis. In fact, it is the reason why quantitative traders have got a massive edge, but optimization can create curve fitting. So in order to avoid curve fitting is what we need to do called forward testing. So if I'm going to create a optimized strategy for the past 2000 to 2010, I need to run a forward test with that value to 2010 to 2020. So that gives us the honest results that, hey, the optimized values do work in a forward tested data. Now, is that enough? No. Once you do the optimization, you do the forward testing. Once you do the forward testing, you do the Monte Carlo simulation. So it's kind of like a cycle, and each test gives out different inputs for the optimization data, and we need to check it through the forward test, and once that's approved, then we do the Monte Carlo simulation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an example of a Monte Carlo simulation, which I did in AmiBroker. This is an excerpt from one of our strategies, which we teach in a course. A very simple strategy, but it has been applied to 90 stocks, a dynamic universe of 90 stocks. So you can see the annual return here, 10% to 11%, and the maximum drawdowns from 2% to 9%. So this really helps us leverage, so we can actually increase this to 30% return, and then the drawdowns will also go up, but it'll be okay for us because we can stomach this. So the CAGR to drawdown is much superior in this one than the SPY buy and hold. So how we read the Monte Carlo simulations, you can see 1%, 99%. So there is less than 1% chance that the annual return will be less than 10%. And there is less than 1% chance that the maximum drawdown will be lower than 2%. And there's a 99% chance that the maximum drawdown will be below 9%. So this will be the bracket that we'll be working out with. And these are the things that you want to look at when you create a strategy, because a strategy can be linear, because when you're doing backtesting, we're doing it linear from 2000 to 2020. So what Monte Carlo simulation does is that it kind of randomizes the thing. So it kind of moves around these trades. So maybe the 2008 financial crisis is the first trade, and still does it work? Does your strategy work with that randomization? And once you get that approval, that's when we go ahead with your strategy. So this Monte Carlo simulation is used everywhere in financial industry, in data science industry, even in nuclear plants in your country. It's being used because there's a limitation to amount of tests you can do in nuclear facilities, and this is one of those things that helps you achieve the returns that you want. So as a quantitative developer, Monte Carlo simulation is probably one of the most important things to do. So in QuantConnect, I'm not sure whether they allow this. They do have optimization. So once you've got the optimization, obviously you can do the forward test. Monte Carlo simulation, I am not really sure. So unless we code it in Python, because this is Python, so this gives us lots of leg room to actually create different things. So maybe you can, but I prefer to use AmiBroker for my optimization because I've already paid them for their software, so I don't want to pay again, because for optimization you need to pay another bit of money in QuantConnect. So if you've probably not purchased AmiBroker, then maybe using QuantConnect might be ideal for optimization. But again, it's up to you. But anyways, Monte Carlo simulation is quite crucial in quantitative trading. So so far we have done this dynamic universe. We'll take a step further and create much more complicated strategies, but I also want to create the fee model. So here you can see we have shown the fees of the trade. So there are many brokers out there now who are giving out free, commission-free transaction trades. So for that, you might need to do something. So if you want to create a backtest without the fees, then what you'll need to do is set security initializer, and then lambda again. We'll use lambda x, and then same thing we did before, x dot set free model, fee model, and then bracket constant fee model, and then bracket, we're going to show it as 0. So hopefully there is no errors. Lambda x, set fee model, constant fee model, bracket 0, and then there's two brackets there. Yeah, hopefully this should go through. So this will help us, remove the fees if you want to get the backtest without the fees going through. So as you can see here, the fees is now $0. So obviously the returns are going to be higher as well. So anyways, I'm going to just hashtag that one. So I'm going to save this as, I think, part 3 of the video. And the new challenge right now is I want you to create a strategy in which you select top 20 stocks, okay, sorted by the price this time. So I want you to select the highest price of those stocks and just do a backtest. I'm pretty sure it won't give you the greatest results, but the whole idea is to create a challenge. So you know what are the things available. So here it's dollar volume. You can also select prices here. Get the raw price. So you're finding the top 20 stocks with the highest price, and we're going to do the exact same backtest with the leverage that you fancy. The whole idea, and also the allocation that you fancy as well. The whole idea is so that you understand this whole selection filter. So when we go into much more complicated strategies, what I'm going to do is we can actually pass two things. So we can actually pass selection filter and also another fine selection filter. So basically, once we get this function of the initial selection of stocks, we can then go deeper. So for instance, I can check if we have fundamental data in this function, and then another function, which is the fine selection filter, to check stocks if in case a market cap is above 1 billion or 5 billion or 10 billion or things like that. So the another thing I need to talk about is really the, after you finish the challenge, is that when you create dynamic universe, I highly suggest that you don't create strategies for like extremely low cap or micro cap stocks, and that's when you're going to get trouble with slippages and issues like that. So if you focus on larger cap stocks, lots of problems gets removed. The drawdowns become smaller, the slippage becomes smaller, get a much more of a smoother equity curve. There's no noise in it, and even if you pass number of trades, the slippage elephant doesn't come into your room much. So it's just a small tip, but it's up to you really. I can only guide you. It's up to you how you choose the strategies. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and you've learned how to do the strategies in QuantConnect. If you have any queries, you can leave a comment. If you want to create strategy or want to use our coding services, you can check out the link for the Fiverr or the Upwork in the description box. And if you guys want to do the course, visit our website. And if you have any inquiries, feel free to send us an email, which you can find in our About To page, or leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.